I'm Todd Blackstock, your host for the Emmy Award-winning show, Inside Sports. We have a good one for you today, as our crew is behind the scenes for the announcement to the world that the first qualifying game for the 2018 World Cup in Russia begins right here in St. Louis. Plus, former NFL tight end St. Louis and Mike McNeill will be in studio to discuss his journey to the NFL and life after football. And we're going to check out the ladies' football camp recently held over at Rams Park. So stay tuned to Inside Sports coming up now. And welcome to the show. In our first segment today, we're going to head over to Ballpark Village to check out the scene and the raucous celebration that ensued when the STL was named host city to kick off the journey to the 2018 World Cup in Russia.
We're here today to announce that the first step of the U.S. men's national team journey towards the 2018 FIFA World Cup in Russia begins right here in St. Louis. The first World Cup qualifier in the semifinal round will be at Busch Stadium Friday, November 13th.
The opponent will either be St. Vincent and the Grenadines or Aruba. We don't really care who it is in St. Louis. It's the USA that we'll be cheering for that day.
A festive crowd came out to Ballpark Village to celebrate Men's World Cup, along with civic leaders hosted by the St. Louis Cardinals.
And over the last few years, Busch Stadium has hosted 3 soccer matches, 2 international soccer friendly matches in 2013, and of course the U.S. women's match versus New Zealand in April. And that one was pretty good luck for the women's team, so I think the one here is going to be good luck for the men's team as well.
St. Louis and Tim Ream played NCAA soccer at St. Louis University and is a member of the men's national team.
I'm proud that St. Louisans will be able to see a national team game that means something in their backyard.
This is nation against nation. This is the world's largest sporting event by a huge margin. Nothing else comes remotely close to it. It's held once every 4 years. And you are granted the opportunity to put your city back on that map by having the first home qualifier for 2018. This is a win-win in every capacity.
It brings to all the soccer fans in the St. Louis area and around the Midwest something to be very, very excited about. And it is also a demonstration that St. Louis is stepping up and letting the world know that this is a soccer town.
Mayor Slay is a lifetime soccer fan, and the game holds a special place in his heart.
I met my wife at a soccer game, and I took her on our first date to a soccer game at Busch Stadium, where the Stars were playing the Miami Toros.
Pat McBride scored a goal in that match, and today he, along with other former members of the U.S. national team, Steve Petcher, Ty Keogh, and former Herman Award winner and captain of the U.S. World Cup team, Al Trost, were honored, along with current Team Cup members, Tim Ream, and World Cup champion Lori Kolupny, all of whom are from St. Louis.
It appeals to both sexes. I mean, the boys and girls, the numbers of kids that are playing, it's astronomical if you would compare those numbers to other sports.
Lori Kolupny played at Nearings High School here in St. Louis and loved the way Busch Stadium played during a women's game last April.
The way that Busch Stadium is laid out, it creates, it's just awesome. It's just an awesome atmosphere to be playing in. We pulled up here, I mean, I'm not exaggerating, everybody had their headphones off, everybody's looking around, look at how many people are coming. I mean, because we're coming right off the highway, so you could kind of see for distances, you know, and it was every parking lot, everywhere there were just crowds and crowds of fans out, you know, getting ready for the game. And I remember, I mean, that was the first time I've seen the team kind of like taken back, you know, like this is pretty special. This is really neat. Yeah, so it was cool.
How in the world do the officials in St. Louis and Busch Stadium with the Cardinals find a way to bring World Cup soccer to Busch Stadium?
Well, I think the United States Soccer Federation, I think, has realized that St. Louis can draw for these big events. You know, we've proved it in the past now with the various international games that we've had, the friendlies that we've had, the women's team drawing, you know, almost 40,000. You know, so I think we've proved that we can draw here in St. Louis.
They just put a really compelling proposal together and made it easy to embrace, quite frankly.
So people from around the country, they're accepting and embracing the fact that St. Louis is a hotbed for soccer, both men and women's.
Absolutely, no question. I mean, I think many people know that, but I think bringing the game here will reinforce that again.
But will this game put St. Louis on the fast track for an MLS team?
That's the biggest question I'm getting everywhere I go is when do you think St. Louis is going to have a team? And I think this game in November is going to go a long way to deciding whether or not we take that next step and are in that final list to get that next MLS team.
The one immense roadblock is $100 to $110 million expansion fee. There is not an investor, owner, operator that we know of yet. However, with all these things coming together, these past games being tremendously attended, a World Cup qualifier coming up now, if you don't see St. Louis as a viable alternative to join this league, I really don't think you're paying attention.
This is Lori Kolupny. Keep watching Inside Sports with Todd Blackstock.
Over 13 million people are affected by famine, war, and drought in the Horn of Africa.
Make a simple text donation of $10.
But do more than donate. Forward the facts.
Hey, welcome back to Inside Sports. I'm Todd Blackstock. Well, joining me now is a former Kirkwood Pioneer, Nebraska Cornhusker, and St. Louis Ram. He was featured nationally along with Chris Rossavi from 1380 AM Talk STL and yours truly on a recent episode of the BET smash hit reality show, Nellyville. And this time, I'd like to welcome Mike McNeill to Inside Sports. Mike, what's going on, buddy?
Not much. Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
What's cracking in the loo?
What's cracking in the loo? Not much right now. Might not be in the loo for long, but...
We were talking about the Nellyville situation. It was a lot of fun. Nelly's son, Trey, actually attends CBC High School, and he plays football, and last year they won the state championship. So he wants to, maybe break into a career in broadcasting after he's finished with football. He's going to try it out. So we worked a deal, and you were involved with it, and it was a lot of fun. Actually, Andre Holman, the production supervisor here at STL TV, reminded me that I actually broadcasted a game of Trey Haynes with Matthews Dickey. And right now we're going to take a look at our little segment on Nellyville. Let's roll it, guys.
Hey.
Hi, you must be Trey. Todd Blackstock, TalkSTL.com, 1380. How are you?
Nice to meet you.
All right. Do you have any questions?
So we just live? Or
We're live, man. We're going to be doing this on the spot, so you better get ready, buddy.
On the spot.
We're going to be covering NFL football. I know you like that a little bit. Some issues, and we might throw you a couple of curves here today and see what you got. And what makes you want to consider going into broadcasting?
I just always watched broadcasting or listened to sports radio, and I just thought that's something I would like to do.
Now, you're a big Tom Brady fan, too, so what was your take initially on the Tom Brady Deflategate situation?
My take initially was they're just trying to find dirt on us. Being successful for like the past decade, puts us in a villain spot, kinda, and I didn't have enough evidence, so, I don't know what to believe right now.
I'm just so confused on why it's that big of a deal.
Because it's the Patriots, right, Trey?
Yeah, I think that's true.
Everybody's after the Patriots, especially everyone in St. Louis.
Let me ask you this, what do you think of the Aaron Hernandez situation? There's been a lot of press up there in New England this year.
The men up top like Kraft and all of them, I think that we just want to get the situation behind us and focus on, what's important, which is playing football.
Something like 2 million viewers saw that episode throughout the course of of that week. It was a lot of fun. So what'd you think about that, having a lot of fun being on national TV? You got a line in there. You fired one off.
I did. I was hoping for a little more TV time, but I'll take the one line that I got. It was a lot of fun having him on, and it was fun to watch him read the cell phone repair ad a couple of times. That was a neat experience for him.
Now, Mike, you went to Kirkwood High School here in St. Louis, had a lot of fun, and you were involved with the Turkey Day game every year versus Webster. A lot of times, though, with Kirkwood and Webster, the teams are so good that sometimes they're competing for state championships and things. Did you get to play in those games, and what was the experience like?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to play in 4. My freshman year, Webster Groves was going to the state championship, and they had a JV football game. So I was on the freshman team as a freshman, but I got lucky. I got to play. I actually didn't play all that much in the game, though. Didn't do much. I never really did all that much in any Turkey Day game, which is kind of unfortunate. I did win 3 out of the 4. I lost my senior year. But yeah, I mean, it's a great experience to be part of the longest rivalry west of the Mississippi, and it's a neat. The whole school for a week is a cool atmosphere to be around.
You know, you'd think a guy like you that went on and played in the NFL would maybe be the most popular guy in your team, maybe even the best player in your team. That wasn't the case, was it?
No, I might have been the most popular. I don't know,
Okay.
but I wasn't the best player. That's for sure. I was fortunate enough to play with Jeremy Maclin, who is now killing it in the NFL and also in financially with a 5-year, $55 million deal that he just signed this offseason. So it was special to get to play with him and watch him do what he did in high school and then at Mizzou and then throughout the pros.
So what was J-Mac like? I mean, I met him once at Mizzou. His freshman year, I guess it was a redshirt freshman year. His first game, they played in the rivalry with Illinois.
Yeah.
So he had like a punt return, a kick return, and a catch for a touchdown. It was his breaking out game. That must have been pretty cool. Was he a pretty cool guy to hang out with? And do you still talk to Jeremy Maclin?
Yeah, we still keep in touch. I helped him run some of his camps for a couple years and, hang out here and there whenever he's home. He's not home all the time. He's a really quiet guy. If you're one of his friends, he talks to you, but if not, he's just kind of keeps to himself. Real humble guy. And we had kindergarten class, so we go way back as far as being friends. And yes, we still do keep in touch. And I'm definitely going to make my way out to Arrowhead for a game this year.
Yeah, now signed with the Chiefs. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So Jeremy Maclin ends up going to the University of Missouri. You picked Nebraska. Why'd you split up the friendship?
Well, there was a couple of reasons I didn't want to go to Mizzou. My sisters were going there. All my friends from high school were going there. I kind of wanted to get away and experience something different. But also Nebraska was the first school that offered me a scholarship. They had Coach Callahan, who had just come from the Oakland Raiders. So I thought playing for, coaches that had coached in the NFL would prepare me for the NFL, which is where I ultimately wanted to get to. And just experiencing a game day in Nebraska for my official visit kind of put me over the top. It's a very special place to play.
Weren't there something like several hundred sellouts in a row, and you got to be a part of that?
Yeah, they're going on. I don't even know what number they're going on now, probably north of 350. When I was there, though, I was fortunate enough to be part of number 300, and we got to wear throwback uniforms from back in like the 60s or 70s. So that was a cool game to be a part of, and it's a neat tradition.
Back in the Tom Osborne days, was he ever like around practice or around the facility and the team? And if you got to meet him, what was he like?
Got to spend a fair amount of time with him. Sat in his office and talked to him, and very, very quiet. He has a presence about him, though, even though he's very quiet. He's, just an iconic figure in Nebraska. He took over as the athletic director when Pelini came in, and so he was around a fair amount. He had his hand a little bit in the football side. I don't want to say much, but I think the coaches asked him a little bit here and there about the option and stuff that we started doing in our offense because they were so good at it when he was there. So yeah, it was cool to meet him and get to talk to him, and it was nice to have him around because he turned the program around.
I was talking to some people at Westport Plaza one night, and they were from Nebraska. I was like, oh, I got a buddy that played for the University of Nebraska. You probably never heard of him. And I said, it's Mike McNeill. And they're like, oh, Mike. Oh, sure, we know Mike. They're throwing out the stats. Oh, he's the leader in this category. And his picture is still on the wall at Nebraska to today. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
On there?
I haven't been back. I went back my very first year that I was done playing. I went back for the spring game, and they didn't even have the game because it got rained out, and I haven't been back since.
So what was the record they were talking about that you still hold at Nebraska?
I still hold the most receptions in a career by a tight end and most receptions in one season by a tight end.
Nice. And then
I used to be in the top 10 overall, but I've recently been bumped off that list.
You got bumped off?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, as the years go on, you probably, people come up and.
I think I was number 9 or 10, and now I'm 11 or 12.
All right. Well, then you transitioned into the NFL. I believe you're an undrafted free agent. How'd you feel about that? And who picked you up originally?
Well, I wasn't happy about it. I felt like I was snubbed. I had played at the Senior Bowl, and I did well there, so I thought that there was going to be a good chance that I'd get drafted. I didn't, and the Colts had talked to me throughout the draft, though, and said they were really interested, and when the draft ended, we didn't get to sign because we were part of the lockout year.
Oh.
So normally you sign within 5 minutes. If you go undrafted, you know what team you're going to, maybe at least within 30 minutes of the draft ending. As soon as our draft ended, we had to wait till, I think it was like July 24th or something, till the lockout ended. But they called, right, the first day that they could, and they said, we'd love for you to come. And I thought Indianapolis would be a good fit for me just because they had guys like Dallas Clark and Jacob Tamme and guys who were a little bit undersized but better receivers, and that's what they needed in their offense. And I went there and ended up making the team, and it was a great place to start my career.
So you got to play with Peyton Manning and meeting him. Was he like the greatest leader you've ever met, or up in the top few?
Yeah, he's definitely, there's no words to describe him other than just being, I think, the best of all time. I didn't get to play with him. He was hurt. He had his neck surgery when I was there, but just you could see from the way he conducted the meeting room, just the command and the respect that he, gets at all times, just because he knows so much. And I ran routes with him one day, and he just was going through the defense on the field, but there was no defense. It was just me and him and two other receivers, and we were throwing one-on-one, and he walks up to the line and points out things and calls out stuff, and it's like nothing you could ever imagine.
He was checking off and
yeah, he was waving off over here and pointing over here and then calling hot routes and things that you just, only I think he could do. So it was pretty impressive.
That's pretty cool. And then after your stint with the Colts, you ended up in St. Louis with the St. Louis Rams. That must have been a thrill. I remember seeing you in the locker room, and it was a game. I think you had a pretty good game, and you were about to make the team, and some people were talking to you. You were very affable. You were very excited, and it was kind of a cool hometown story. Kirkwood boy, Kirkwood product here from St. Louis, making it back in the NFL with the St. Louis Rams. What was that like?
Well, I woke up after the Colts were 0-13, I think. We were 0-13, and then we finally won. We beat the Titans.
Drafted Andrew Luck.
we beat the Titans, and the next morning I got a call from my agent. He said, pack your stuff, you're going home. And I called my parents, and it was like 2 weeks before Christmas, and I said, hey, I'm coming home. I'm going to the Rams. I don't know why to this day that they picked me up. I replaced a linebacker who got hurt, and I didn't play in the last 2 games. And I don't know for sure, but I think the coaches probably had a fairly good idea that they were going to get fired, and they did shortly after because it had been a tough season. And it was just surreal, getting to come home and play in St. Louis and be part of the Rams after I had season tickets as a kid growing up and got to watch the greatest show on turf. So it was definitely special.
It must have been pretty huge. So what was the difference between the Steve Spagnuolo, Billy Devaney era as opposed to Jeff Fisher and Les Snead coming in? What was the differences?
Well, I only got to experience 2 games, and like I said, it was, it was kind of a tumultuous season for the Rams. So when I showed up, things were kind of deflated and on the way out. So I don't really know. I can't really speak on behalf of how it was before I got there. And even the last 2 games, there wasn't much going on. But as far as when Fisher came in, you could just tell that there was, a breath of fresh air. Sometimes you just need to start over. And sometimes that's players switching cities and needing to start over. And sometimes that's just a team or an organization needing a new coach.
Now, you're on one of the videos of one of the hardest hits ever. You got smoked. Tell us about that. I mean, you were hit so hard, you like spun around in the air or something. It was like one of the all-time NFL
I didn't
hardest
spin around
hits.
in the air. I got lifted into the air because I jumped right into a defender. It was William Moore. He played at Mizzou, actually. I used to play against him in college. He played for the Falcons. I caught a ball out in the flats, and I just kind of jumped right into his arms, and then there's a picture of me like over his shoulder, and he just body slams me right into the ground. And I stood up, and I walked right off the field, and everyone was looking at me like, we thought you were dead. I still didn't have my breath at this point, so I'm on the sideline just kind of standing there like, come back and breathe. And then finally I got my breath, and I played 2 more quarters, and the next morning I found out I broke 4 ribs.
You broke 4 ribs? It was a highlight
It was
reel.
a pretty big hit. It made number 41 on the top 100 plays of the year, and it was the only play, because I was there, so I know this. I was at the Super Bowl that year as a fan, and it was the only play replayed twice on their highlights of the year film.
Nice.
So that was kind of cool. You know?
And you played with Adamacon Sue, who
I
hit
did.
harder. I mean, that guy must have hit really hard.
He did. I didn't get hit by him very much.
Yeah, you kind of avoided Adamacon Sue.
I avoided Adamacon Sue.
I don't blame you there. Then you went on to Carolina. You played there. You got your tenure. Then you decided to hang it up. You know, we got about maybe 2 minutes left here in the show, in this segment. So tell us why you hung it up and how it went. You just called the Panthers one day?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I got injured last year and did an injury settlement, so I didn't play the whole year. And I re-signed with them in January, and in March, I woke up for 2 months and just every day I was like, you know, I don't know that I want to go back and play football. I just had kind of lost a little bit of my passion for playing, and I decided that I would see where life would take me next and try out the real world.
So there you go. And then the next thing you know, we're broadcasting football games for the St. Louis Attack in the Indoor League, the X League. We're broadcast team of the year last year. Congratulations on that. And doing some radio over at talkstl.com. You must like that. Before we let you go, tell us about how you like doing the radio stuff and what's in the future for you.
It's been great doing the radio and doing the games with you. It was wonderful to get my feet wet in the broadcasting area and, you know, really see where it would go. I've decided that I'm going to go the sales route. I'm going to try and do medical device sales. There is some money in it, and I love the broadcasting. It was fun, but hopefully be doing medical sales here soon.
All right, Mike. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Thanks a lot for having me.
I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
All right. Well, while Mike McNeill may be phasing out of football, women from around the area are learning how to play the game. And right now, we're going to head over to Rams Park to check out the ladies' football camp, and along the way, meet the Rams news sideline reporter. Hi, I'm Todd Blackstock on location at Rams Park for the 2015 ladies' football camp. And joining me now is Lisa Boaz, the Director of Marketing and Advertising for the St. Louis Rams. And Lisa, you have a very large part to do with today's event, the Ladies Football Camp. Can you tell us about it?
Absolutely. So this is the third year that we've done this. We've got about 200 women here at Rams Park in Earth City, and it's an opportunity for them to really learn the game of football from the players themselves. We've got a couple current players, a couple former players. We've got some players' wives, some female staff, really all involved with helping show them what our players go through on a daily basis.
Is this kind of like football 101 in a sense, or is it a little bit of a derivative of it?
It's a little bit different. It's really more learning the game of football through drills and fitness activities. So we've got 4 football stations. They're learning how to throw a football, they're learning how to catch a football, kick a field goal, and then we've also got a couple fitness stations as well to show that it's more than just the drills that they do.
Virginia, what brings you out here today? There's over 200 ladies around St. Louis participating in this camp.
Well, I got a really awesome email from the St. Louis Rams, and I enjoy a little bit of fitness and also to meet some players, so I figured I might try it out.
So what about the different stations? Can you tell us about the different things that they had you guys go through today in preparation for the camp?
We did a little bit of cardio, we did a little bit of throwing footballs around, kicking footballs, a little bit of core work, and that was pretty much kind of covered a little bit of everything.
And joining us now at Rams Park is the new Rams reporter, Danny Clevenger. Danny, are you having a great time out here today or what?
I am having a great time, and to be honest, I'm sweating. These guys are really working us out here today, but these ladies are doing such a fantastic job. I'm super, super impressed.
Now, Danny, it seems like everybody wants to interview with you more than they want to interview with me today. I'm just not sure why that is.
You know, it's a ladies football camp, so I think it's all about women's empowerment today. You know, they want to come to me and talk to me maybe.
I see Matt Bierman out here with Elite Football Academy, and I know they're a big supporter, and they come out here and do high school football combines and things like that. So it must be pretty cool to team up with some maybe local sponsors or groups that support the Rams football and events like this.
Absolutely. Matt's group is awesome. We started the Rams Training Academy with them a couple years ago, and they've been a great supporter of ours. And so we've got that out in Chesterfield. They brought out some instructors today and are really helping participate in the drills. And then we also have our leading sponsor, and that's Washington University and Barnes-Jewish Hospital. So they've been a huge supporter as well.
Matt, you're out here today helping out with the 2015 Ladies Football Camp. You were out here earlier in the year with the high school football combine, so you're a regular around these parts here at Rams Park.
We get to spend a lot of days throughout the year here, so it's pretty fortunate to do fun events like this and expose a lot of mothers, future mothers, and just women in general to the actual game of football and teach them, you know, really what the guys are out there doing and giving them a healthy respect for the game, but also putting them through the test and seeing what they can do.
Talk about the ladies football camp out here today and your role.
You know, I'm just helping out wherever I can. You know, it's their day. You know, they're getting supported today, so that for the most part, you know, I'm just helping out, just showing them, you know, a little technique that we do during the season.
Do you think they appreciate the game more after coming to a camp like this?
I think so. You know, you get to see, you know, our faces without, you know, the helmets and stuff, and they get to meet us and see how, you know, cool and, you know, laid back we are. And at the same time, they get to see what we have to go through as well.
We had Dr. Matava with their group out here earlier. He talked a little bit about what he does for our team and our players, and talked a little bit about being safe and having fun.
I see there's people with disabilities out here today. I mean, it's pretty incredible when you see just the whole realm of people that are out here today supporting this camp.
It's really incredible. And speaking to those disabilities, we have a woman here that is blind, and she has participated in every single station. So it just goes to show you that anybody can be involved in fitness, and it can be fun for everyone involved. And I think that that's what everybody's doing here, is having a great time.
We've had great involvement from our players. We've got Michael Brockers out here, quarterback Case Keenum, Cody Davis, a couple former players, Leroy Glover, Derek Stanley, and our coaches' wives have been involved as well. And so they've been really involved from the beginning. They love events like this, love to see the enthusiasm.
Pretty impressive having Michael Brockers out here today. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. The eyes of the ladies when they saw how actually big he really is, and he was enjoying it, and the ladies were loving having him there. He was putting them to the test, showing them how to do it, and giving some high fives. They all had to jump to get up and reach his hand up there. He's a big guy.
Michael Brockers. Michael Brockers.
Michael Brockers. What does he play? Anybody know?
Defense.
I would say so far Brocker was probably my favorite. He was a lot of fun to work with and kind of hang out with today.
You know, a lot of times guys sit there on the couch and watch football on Sundays, and the girls are, oh gosh, what are we going to do? Maybe this could spur some of the ladies to join the guys watching football.
Oh yeah, then it gives them a one-up on their husbands. You know, you make a play or whatever, and they can say, oh, I met that guy, and their husbands, you know, kind of jealous. But yeah, it's been great. It's been a good event. So yeah, I like it.
For me, it's just really neat to see how excited are women to get about the sport of football, right? This day and age, we're getting a lot of people giving bad press to the game, and I think it gets them in here to realize it's not a barbaric game. It's a game of a thinking man's game. It's a fun game. It's safe. There's a lot of safety that's been put into the game now, and I think a lot of them saw today firsthand the level of dedication it takes to be a football player, but also at the same time, you know, the enjoyment you can get out of doing it.
What brought you to the Rams, and what are you looking forward to most for the 2015 season?
Well, I'm going to walk you through my life really fast. I grew up in Oregon. I played basketball in college at Stony Brook University in New York. Moved to Tennessee, worked for University of Tennessee for 2 years, and now I'm working for the Rams, and I'm so excited to be in the NFL. This is unlike anything I could have ever experienced before, and I'm really looking forward to this season because I think we're going to be a really good team this year.
Football's about to start, so everybody's excited, so me too.
Go Rams!
It's great to see the ladies playing with a pigskin and seeing how excited Danny Clevenger is about her new gig with the team. Well, hopefully it won't be the last season in the STL for the Rams. Well, we'd like to thank videographer Jerry Berwin and everyone in our crew here at STL TV for making this show happen. And a special thanks to our viewers for watching. I'm Todd Blackstock. Thanks for watching STL TV. We'll see you next time.